it's very hard for anybody to express expectations from the African National Congress. From my view is that the NEC, they have to elect 80 people, and we know that the pool of people of South Africans that the ANC always looks for leaders from is a very small pool of people who've been recycled over and over again, and many of them have got all sorts of dark clouds hanging over their heads. They don't go beyond those people. For some reason, they seem to think that we forget, the rest of us forget what these people have been up to in the past, and then they bring them back, they recycle them and bring them back. We're going to see, we already saw some names that are nominated for the NEC. I mean, even in the top 7, the new, what used to be the top 6, you have people like Nomvula Mogoyane, Fikile Mbalula, and all these people are dodgy people. You know, what's his name, Gwete Mantashe. I mean, I'm sorry, if you want to make a renewed promise to the people of South Africa, you're not going to bring out the same people who have been implicated in all sorts of unethical conduct in the past, or who looked away from wrong being done against the interests of South Africa. I mean, Gwete Mantashe famously tried to push the banks into reopening Gupta accounts even during state capture. And during state capture, at the height of state capture, even soon after the former public protector Tulima Donsela issued a report on Nkandla, Fikile Mbalula was made police minister, and we know that during that time the Guptas played a big role in appointing ministers. So they wouldn't have chosen this dude to be made police minister if they didn't think he'd keep them safe. He'd practice the art of looking the other way. And during the entire period when everybody was complaining about state capture and he was police minister, he never said a word about the Guptas. So what was he hiding? Why was he quiet when South Africa was being heard, when his job was to protect this country? Now he's in there already. He's a big guy who talks. But this whole thing is about the African National Congress. It's not about South Africa. And like I always say, what is good for South Africa is no longer good for the ANC. What's good for the ANC is no longer good for South Africa.
Is there a good and a bad ANC? Is there
No. There is no good and bad ANC, please. This is the same ANC that has been in power in South Africa since 1994. They keep changing presidents, but it's the same ANC. The president is the face of the ANC. I mean, like, if you look at Ramaphosa, he was put across as the last hope for South Africa. Ramaphosa, Tumamina this and Tumamina that, New Dawn, all of that stuff died. And then he stood up one day and said, listen, I'd rather be seen as a weak president of South Africa than to be seen than to be the president under whom the ANC is going to split. My mission is to keep the ANC together. He was speaking, and he was flanked by the South African flag when he said that. He was not sitting with his ANC regalia next to an ANC flag. That's very, very significant. People forget that. So, no, there's no good ANC or bad ANC. There's ANC, full stop. It just comes up in different... Ramaphosa is a charming guy. He speaks well, and, you want to believe him. But, if you think about scam stories, a lot of guys who scam you don't come there dressed in drags. They come there driving nice cars, they speak well, they dress well, they have taste, and then the next thing you wake up, all your money is gone.
So does this mean that we are in for the same old every day?
Look, if you think about it, sure, the criminal justice system must do what it must, independently of what the Ramaphosa or anybody in politics say. But we know that's not what it is like. The justice minister, or the chief justice rather, he was the one who oversaw the Zondo Commission, which is named after him, of course. He handed the report of the Zondo Commission to the president with all the recommendations. And the president has kind of said, okay, this is what must happen. We know that the other faction of the ANC is filled with people who are heavily implicated in the wrongdoing, much of the wrongdoing that happened during state capture. Nomvula Mogoyane is one of them. So when they sit there in the NEC and discuss the need to empower the criminal justice system, do you see Nomvula Mogoyane sitting in the room saying, I think we should do that? Because she knows, amongst others, that the next thing they'll be coming to knock at her door. Well, I mean, if you think about what Ramaphosa said when he first appeared at the conference, he he sought out Jacob Zuma, the man from Uganda. He wanted to give him a hug and greet him properly. But that man had already, before the conference, launched a criminal charge against Ramaphosa. He was given until yesterday to withdraw the charge. He hasn't. All the lieutenants of Zuma are standing very firm that they want to get Ramaphosa out. Ramaphosa, remember, Pala had two arms to it, if you want. There was the political arm, which Ramaphosa has won because he managed to get the ANC to defend him. It was predictable. But there's still the criminal arm as well, the legal arm which is being pursued. He took this thing to the Constitutional Court. We don't know how the Constitutional Court is going to rule on that one. We still have to hear what the South African Reserve Bank has to say in terms of how the money got into the country. We still need to hear from SARS. Of course, SARS doesn't discuss private tax matters in public, but it must act if crime has been committed there. So I don't see how Ramaphosa can be let go away, allowed to go get away with wrongdoing if he's indeed committed wrongdoing. So the ANC people will smile, laugh at each other, call each other comrade, but actually most killings in South Africa happen within the ANC. Look at KZN. They call each other one another comrade, this comrade, they hug you, but the same people are the one who turn around and step you in the back at night. They're doing it to themselves, to one another, more than they're doing it to us. I mean, in terms of stepping in, because they're doing other things to us which are a lot more painful.
Within that leadership, if you think there are two other things that they declared and did over the weekend. The one is saying, okay, but the Billy Dlamini can stand for the NEC now, and apparently they did away with their own stand aside rule.
Which
says a lot about ANC, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the ANC, if the ANC must be given credit for anything, at least the ANC, they'll tell you that the ANC comes first. Many of them have said so many times, the ANC comes first, all right? So they thought, look, if we're going to have this conference, and now we're being accused of not having acted against other people in the past who didn't do X, Y, Z, so let's just, allow everybody to participate, and, let's be one family again. That's what they do. But Lungi is totally discredited. But she's not the only one. Andy Lungi is discredited. I mean, the name of people who are discredited. I saw Malusi Gigaba's name in there. Many others are in there. People whose names should not be in there. So if the ANC is looking for renewal, it shouldn't expect South Africans to believe the nonsense that it keeps throwing at us. I mean, the ANC people, the ANC world and the South African world. I mean, I think what I would like to see people doing in the rest of South Africa, outside of the ANC, is to stop looking at South Africa from the perspective of the African National Congress. They should look at South Africa as one entity, the ANC as one entity, which has been abusive over South Africa. Because we keep thinking, let's let them sort out their issues, we can wait. South Africa mustn't forever be held hostage to the madness happening in the African National Congress. It's crazy. It needs to stop. It must unshackle itself from the ANC. And I always say, for as long as the ANC keeps its knee held, pressing it down hard on South Africa's neck, South Africa is not going to be able to stand up again. South Africa needs to push the ANC off its neck so it can stand up and realize the real potential that it has.
Do you think it will be possible? Is the ANC still in for coming in on under 50% as it's been predicted?
Yeah, of course it will. Maybe it has in the past, we don't know, right? Because it has control over the so-called Independent Electoral Commission. I think that the other thing we should wake up to is to what extent are processes in the IEC controlled, informed, dictated upon. Okay, and people must stop thinking that when you wear a fancy T-shirt made in China on election day and looking around at a ballot box of at an election station, and you see nobody clapping somebody else, we think the election is fair and free and fair. Elections are stolen long before they happen. They can be stolen during elections. They can be stolen immediately after the elections. You need to look who is being appointed to run the election, to oversee the stations. You need to look at who prints the ballot papers, who transports them. Do all of them come virgin, unmarked? We don't know that. So I will believe the ANC will its results at elections will show the true will of the people of South Africa, when I am convinced the ANC has no control over the IEC. Today, that is not the case.